Welcome back to the Cauldron of Curiosities, where we dip into the bubbling pot of myths, folklore, and the strange little stories that have followed us through the ages. I'm Sara, and today we're stepping into the shadows to meet a figure that has haunted the lanes, the moors, and the imagination of Britons for centuries: the Black Dog. Now, depending on where you're listening from, the black dog might mean different things. Here in Cornwall, we can't help but think of the Beast of Bodmin, those shadowy reports of a great dark creature prowling the moor, slinking just out of sight, unless it's 1942 and you're Private Jack James, and apparently he saw many black beasts shadowing him and frightening him, but I'm assuming he remained to live to tell the story because we know about it and it's on Spooky Isles on their website. But just over the border in Devon, Dartmoor has its own eerie hound, immortalised in Arthur Conan Doyle's The Hound of the Baskervilles. But long before Conan Doyle gave us Sherlock Holmes facing down a spectral hound, the black dog was already roaming our folklore. What is the origin of the black dog? This is not just a Cornish or Devon tale. There are stories of these spectral hounds rippling across the whole of Britain, from the Shock of East Anglia to the Girt Dog of Somerset, and even up towards the Northern Fells. They're always black, they're always otherworldly, and they have glowing eyes, which may be red or green. Some tales say they bring a death omen, and others report them being a guardian. But whichever they are, they're always unsettling to people. So where does this image come from? One of the things I discovered is the origins of a black dog are deeply entwined with fear, and interestingly, with Christianity. But let us go back a little bit further, where the ancient traditions saw dogs as liminal creatures. Dogs are associated with Hecate, the goddess of witchcraft. They're seen as guardians of the thresholds, protectors of the underworld. Remember Cerberus in the Greek mythology, or Anubis in Egypt. These dogs have power, mystery, and a connection to both life and death. But with the spread of Christianity, the symbolism shifts. Anything associated with the old ways, with death, the underworld or pagan ritual, people became suspicious of. They said it was dangerous. And so the dog that was once a guide and a spiritual support or protector became a demon. Fear became a tool. Fear still is a tool. And here's my question. Why did the Christian leaders lean so heavily into fear? My research suggests that fear is a very effective way of keeping people in line. If a black dog appears on the road and it's said to be a demon or a warning of death, you will not wander down that lane at night. You will also stay close to the church. You'll stay close to the person who does not fear the black dog. You will follow the rules. Fear closes down your curiosity, because curiosity is dangerous to control. So the black dog, once the protector or the guide for the night, was reshaped into a sinister being, a shadow to keep people obedient. Now, if you believe otherwise, do comment below or send me an email. But one thing we do know, as ever, folklore, especially that which is told verbally, is never static. It changes as people tell and retell the stories. And I think some of us have noticed recently within the literary press, some of the folklore and the myths have been changed depending on the voice of the new author retelling that story. And there are quite a number of stories being retold at the moment. But some of the tales of a black dog are terrifying. We hear about their eyes glowing, that there's thunder as they run or pound into the area, a death the next morning. That would be something to be frightened of. But there are also some strangely comforting stories where the black dog has walked with lonely travellers, guarding them on their way home and ensuring they reach their house safely. It's the same description, the same creature, but it has a different meaning. The earliest accounts of a black dog are found in Anglo-Saxon chronicles, to be specific, the Peterborough Chronicles, which are circa 1127, where the chronicles describe the sightings of both spectral huntsmen and hounds with the black dog running amongst them. There are earlier descriptions of the wild hunt and their origins which cross many cultures, and these are a broad topic to be covered on another occasion. Abraham Fleming links the church to the black dogs in 1577, reporting that they appeared within thunderstorms, and later Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote about the hounds of Baskerville, which is debated where this story, the origin story, came from. Was it the Dartmoor legend of a singular dog called the Yeth Hound? The Yeth Hound was described as a large greyhound-like creature with a black, somewhat smoky coat and glowing red eyes. They're often depicted as being headless and with a human-like face, associated with forests and woodlands, particularly at night, and are known to wander and terrorise the area. The Yeth Hounds are also linked to the folklore of the wild hunt and the unseelie court, and are sometimes described as spirits or demons. Their most distinctive feature is their wailing or baying sound, which can strike fear into those who hear it. In some folklore, the Yeth Hounds are said to be the spirits of unbaptised children, whilst in others they are the hunting hounds, as we said, of the Seelie or the Fae. These hounds may also be avenging spirits, taking evildoers to task. An example that might give you cause to believe this relates to the hounds of Baskervilles, discussing the 17th century squire Richard Cable of Brook Manor and his hounds. A poem excerpt evokes the swirling mists and moonlight as the wished hounds rage, roaring with flames, watching over Richard's deathbed. Local folklore suggests that Cable is chased across the moors until he has a heart attack by the wished hounds. Again, a local version of the wild hunt. Another reference to dark dogs is within The Demon of Sprayton, 1682. It was reported in London to be a poltergeist and a spirit of a woman who appeared in the form of a dog, belching fire. These stories indicate that the hounds appear where there is human wrongdoing, and I'm curious, is the black dog just a means of controlling daily behaviours, or Is it invoking spirits against those who do not follow the Ten Commandments? I find the origin of these stories fascinating. That which begins as fear-mongering has been retold and reshaped and reclaimed. But the aspect that it could also be protective and kind is what interests me. Maybe the black dog shows us more about ourselves than the actual supernatural. Is it the embodiment of what we most fear and how we choose to face it? But think on this. Next time you're walking across the moor, be it Bodmin or Dartmoor, and you're taking that windswept path, you feel the hairs rise on the back of your neck. Maybe it is just the wind. Maybe it's the breath of the black dog. Can you hear it pacing alongside you, waiting to hear whether you're going to tell a story of it being a protector and seeing you home safely, or did it chase you to your door? And what did that make you think? Thank you for listening to this episode of the Cauldron of Curiosities. If you enjoyed this dip into folklore, don't forget to follow the podcast, share it with a friend, and keep your lantern handy for the next curious tale.